Good morning. It is October 1st, 2021, and I wanted to make a hopefully short video about this Gabby Petito slash Brian Laundrie case that has, in recent weeks, taken the nation by storm, really, gained national attention, captivated the minds, really, and minds and hearts of Americans and even beyond our borders worldwide. It's become almost an obsession with people to find the latest tidbit, the latest update. Where is Brian Laundrie? Is the Where's Waldo of the adult world now? Trying to find him, and I want to discuss a few things about it because, first and foremost, when the disciples asked Jesus what the sign of the end of the age was and the sign of his return, the first thing he said, just like sugar is the biggest ingredient, is the first ingredient on your cereal box, that means it's the most important one in there. Hopefully it's not the cereal you're eating, but he said, first and foremost, he said, take heed that no man deceive you. And that is foremost in my mind, and ought to be for anyone who has a mind for these things, to want to know, to discern the times, to be in the truth, to know what's going on, is to take heed that no man deceive you. That means your mother, your father, your teacher, your professor, your pastor, your preacher, your favorite author, you name it. We're to be in the truth. O Lord, lead us into all truth. And he promises that his Holy Spirit given to us will lead us into all truth. And it's in that spirit I'm making this video, because there's something wrong with this situation. And if you don't know it by now, maybe you will by the end of this video. But chances are you're watching this because you already have some interest or feeling that there's something off about this entire thing. And I want to talk about that. And I think by the end, you're going to understand why I personally have concluded with this is where I would put all my chips. This is a complete hoax, psychological operation, top to bottom. I could give a percentage, let's say 99.9999, throw in a few more nines on there, percent certain this is all a concoction. Now, does that mean Gabby Petito is not real? I don't know. There's things I don't know, but that does not change my conclusion or the premise, and that I'm going to posit here this morning. You know, I don't know whether she was really murdered or died or not, and it should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. If this is real, it's very sad and tragic. No one's life should be taken from them. Thou shalt not murder, you know? And that's really awful. I know that there are people who wouldn't even dare to dream to think this way about what I'm going to talk about even the possibility that this didn't happen, or isn't what we're being told, or is being used for nefarious purposes, because they don't want to offend. It would be just too egregious a thing, too hurtful to the parents and people who loved her and all these things, or disrespectful of her life. Well, look, you know what? This is a world where the only way to know the truth is to explore ideas sometimes, because we don't know what we're being told. We know the media is not to be trusted. If you don't know that by now, that every story that comes down the pike, no matter what it is, how local it is, how whether it's how fast the wind's blowing, you've seen them on camera, have you not? Faking how strong the wind is, bracing themselves, you know, and right behind them is a couple guys walking by, not a problem in the world, wearing shorts. But the guy in front of them is acting like he's about to get blown off his feet. You cannot trust these people. They are liars, deceivers. They're lying deceivers. And why would you trust them? And then all of a sudden you get a story like this and you believe everything they say? Well, let's take a look at that. And, the odds that somebody related to this person are going to watch this or hear this or be concerned with it, especially at this point in time, seem very small, and is upstanding and big a people as they're putting themselves out there to be strong and courageous and encouraging the nation and just all the virtuous things they seem to be saying. They should probably be able to rise above it. I'm not worried about it, let's say, okay? And if anything, they ought to be commend somebody who, like myself, who is interested in the truth and understands the medias are liars. They can't blame me. They ought to blame the media. All right? So that's out of the way, okay? And if you're offended still at this point, take a hike. Take a hike. Move along. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is, and this is sort of in not any particular order, I'm just going to go through, because this is a case where the sum is greater than the whole. The sum of the parts are greater than the... Well, let me say that again. The sum of the parts... Why can't I think of this phrase? The sum is greater than each of the parts. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Each one of these things taken in isolation may not mean much, but you put them all together, and now you have a pattern. Now you have something. You have something beginning to emerge from the shadows, and I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, let's talk about why this is going to be important. I'll try to interject this somewhere, but I want to point this out. Let's just start here, okay? I just pulled this up. I did a cursory search before I started the video. There might be better sources of better information. I don't know how accurate this is, but what we're looking at here, in case you're just listening, is 50 Best American TV Series. This is on the IMDb, which I don't know if it stands for Internet Movie Database, something like that, but you can find out about television shows and movies and celebrities and actors and actresses on this website. So I just looked for, the most popular tropes or themes in American television, and this is what came up: 50 Best American TV Series. Now I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna just highlight a few things. I might go fast, and it might be annoying if you're trying to read along. Just listen to what I'm trying to say. Some of these I'm surprised at their ranking. I don't know how they did that. For example, there was one down here that I'm going to get to. It's Law and Order. I thought it would be way higher on this list, and some of these I've never heard of. They are not all true crime, but that's what I'm coming at. That's the what I'm positing to you is that look at what is very popular with what the best American TV. Well, it says best. I don't know if it means most popular, but I think we can infer that these are very popular shows. You've heard of many of them, if not most of them. Some of them I've never heard of, but I don't really watch TV anymore. So number one is Person of Interest. I never heard of it. But the important thing is, and it was on for like 5 years. I don't know, is that 10 seasons? I don't remember how it works. But an ex-CIA agent saves lives via surveillance, has to do with crimes, okay? The following. This has to do with the psychotic serial killer and other active serial killers. Okay, don't know what that's about. Never heard of it. Flash forward, haven't heard of this. A special task force in the FBI investigates, let's see. This one has to do with extraterrestrials. Now, these are not all going to be about crime. And I think that's another video, another topic, but it's interesting. I've talked about this before elsewhere about the, even since I was a little child, you're brought up on Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999, you name it, E.T., the extraterrestrial, The Last Starfighter. I mean, I could go on, okay? I really could go on. There's so many shows that have to do with aliens and all these things. So there's a purpose behind that, but that's a separate story. So let's move on here. Grey's Anatomy, that's medical stuff, okay? The Sopranos, that's to do with true crime, right? Or I don't know if it's true crime, but they portray the mob stuff, mafia things. Breaking Bad has to do with drug manufacturing and that kind of thing. So again, these things fascinate people to where they're willing to spend their leisure time, hours at a time, weeks and weeks on end, involving themselves emotionally in these stories. Okay, let's go to, there's some that are not about this. Numbers working for the FBI. Now, this is the theme, the FBI. The X-Files, 2 FBI agents. Criminal Minds, the cases of the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. I actually used to like that show. Maybe not every episode, but I like to watch that occasionally. Let's see. Third Watch has to do with New York City police officers, firemen and paramedics. Let's see, The Unit. Don't know much about that, but probably has to do with something like crime because it says the life of American super secret operators. I don't know what that is, but probably along these lines. All right, so there's more about aliens. This has to do with I'm going to have to go faster through this. This is a small town plagued by bizarre and violent crimes. Let's see. Hill Street Blues has to do with inner city police precinct. Cold Case. That was another show that I found was interesting. And it can be touching too, well, anyway, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. So it has to do with cold case crimes. This has to do with crimes in Washington, D.C. Heat of the Night has to do with Sparta, Mississippi, and adventures of the police there. Magnum P.I., private investigator, usually had to do with murder, I think, if I remember correct. Miami Vice, Twin Peaks, idiosyncratic FBI agent. Let's see here. Jack Bauer subverts terrorist plots. Millennium, never heard of it. Former FBI profiler. Okay, I'm only halfway through. I've got 20 more to go, but it's pretty much the same all the way down. Here's the Commish. I remember that one. Let's see. Blue Bloods. That has to do with the New York police, and I know Tom Selleck plays the police chief. Let's see. True Detective, Law and Order. Here we go. I would thought this would have been number one. This is just on all the time, from what I remember, and it's still on. Law and Order SVU. That one's a very interesting show. It has the stories can be fascinating, but the point is there is a market and an appetite for these things. Okay, the last one here, Mindhunter. 2 FBI agents. I just want to point out that another FBI. There's CIA, FBI, detectives, murder investigators, private eyes, all of this stuff. Well, guess what this has in common with this Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie situation? You've got bounty hunters. You've got online detectives. There's plenty of online sleuths now. You've got celebrities like Nancy Grace and the body language experts and Dog the Bounty Hunter and I forgot his first name, Walsh. His son was murdered and he started America's Most Wanted. I forgot his first name. I want to say Adam Walsh, but I think that's the name of his son who was murdered. And Joe Walsh is a guitar player. I don't know why I can't think of his name. But anyway, so here's my point. If you were going to create a story, and again, this is sort of what I'm going with, that this is complete hoax. If you were going to have a distraction or have a smoke screen, you're going to want a story that's going to ping, that's going to feed the beast. The people love this stuff. They get involved in it emotionally. They devote time to it. And if you ever took microeconomics, you probably learned a concept called opportunity cost. Now, the things that you occupy your mind with for an hour each day automatically eliminate other things you cannot occupy your mind with during that same hour. Pretty basic, elementary, my dear Watson. So I'm going to move to the next thing here. Now, one thing that I always find in every situation, it's extremely important, is context. I say it a lot. Context is king. So let's look at the context. So here we are, August, September, that this case goes down, starts gaining traction, and all of a sudden blows up in the minds and hearts of not only the United States, but worldwide. Okay? Context is this. Okay? Things are looking bad of and things are getting done. Just awful things are happening is what I'm trying to say. So first of all, you've got right now, they're trying to get this done. This $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, or Build Back Better bill. All right. This thing is just awful. First of all, they might as well call this, I don't know which version you want to call it, Enslave America bill, because the Bible say that the borrower is servant to the lender, that basically debt is slavery. Okay? It's true. Bad parts of Biden's $3.5 trillion Enslave America bill. That's what you might want to call it. Again, this is more obfuscation, by the way. So there's a pattern there, how they operate. Who's they? The powers that shouldn't be. So let's go through a little bit of this. Well, do I need to? You can look into it. There are so many things they're doing through this. Let's see. Oh, here's $12 billion to outfit the federal fleet with electric cars. Okay. They're also, here's another one that stuck out to me. Thought was interesting. Here's $80 billion in mandatory spending for one of these alphabet agencies that is going to double their workforce with 87,000 new workers. Now, what do these people do? They try to collect money from you. Okay? So, they're also doing this. This is something awful. They're wanting to look into everyone's bank accounts, and anything that has over, several $100s in it, they want to know about. This is going on. How many people don't have any idea? There's a lot of things I still have no idea that are going on. But I remember a time in my life with, in my teens, 20s, I wasn't aware of any of this stuff going on. I didn't know what the government was doing all the time. Life was just normal. I didn't realize how, like, if you opened up a can that's been not thrown out and had food in it and whatever, and you find it just a writhing team of maggots in it, just busy, just writhing and squirming, and they are busy. There's a lot going on in that can you didn't see until you kind of happened to knock it over or see inside, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. What they're doing, constant movement, trying and straining and pushing and biting and scratching and tearing and pulling, trying to basically enslave and destroy and remake the United States. And it's been going on a long time, since before I was even born. And it's going on now. And there are many people, that's why I want to make a video like this. And that's why they do, I believe, in this case, why these things are happening that are being thrust upon, let me restate that. Why these things are being thrust upon the minds of America. It's distraction. Okay? So anyway, there's a lot more to this. Let's move on. What's the next thing? Okay, the Afghanistan crisis underscores the U.S. shifting place in the world. So this was what some people call a foreign policy disaster. They call it a blunder. But it's been said, too, there's nothing that happens in Washington that by accident. Okay? There's a lot of, this is not a video about that, but there is a whole lot of benefits for the powers that shouldn't be in the way this was done. The disaster that it is, the loss of lives that it was, all the things that have happened. Number one is U.S. is shifting place in the world. Well, that's another way of saying destroying the United States. And when you say destroy the United States, we're talking about liberty. The United States Constitution protects God-given rights. The right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, freedom of speech. There are places, many, many places in the world, they don't have anything like that. So it definitely has had a unique place in at least recent history and in the world today. But anyway, that's going on. And if you don't know much about it, there's been a lot of media coverage about it, but they need something, don't they, to change the topic. I mean, they have to report on things that are occurring, but how much do you dwell on it? And you know what I'm talking. You've encountered people, individuals that minimize things. They'll acknowledge something, but will they give it its full validation? Will they give it a full hearing? Same kind of thing. Okay. All right. Next thing, and I don't mean to be talking down to anybody. If this is a little bit pedantic for you, just bear with me. We're going to get to all the things here that that are important to the specific case. But again, context is everything. So remember, this is all the context of which this arose. All right. So that right there to me is there's your first sign. All right. The timing, very suspicious. Okay. There's a lot more to it. Remember, the sum is greater than each of the parts. Here we go. This is a website called AliPac. They do a lot to help fight against. They call it illegal immigration. To me, that's a euphemism. Basically invasion. Okay, it's an invasion. I don't need to get into this topic. That's another video itself. But the fact is, there are many problems associated with illegal immigration. Many problems associated with people just flooding the border. No documentation. Don't know who they are. Don't know where they came from. Don't know their individual histories. Don't know where they're going. What their purpose of being here is. We don't know what their health is. They're carrying contagious diseases. That's another subject altogether itself. But here, the main problem caused by these invaders are, and this is very generalized, okay, lost jobs, depreciated wages, stolen taxpayer resources. Think about using up healthcare, using up jails, using up benefits, all these kind of things. Increased numbers of crimes and domestic terrorism. Each of these problems harms Americans in many ways, and you better believe it. There are people who have been murdered by these people that should not be here. People that have been mowed down in the street by their vehicles. Now I'm going to get over there to this. So here's something else that I want to, let's see if I didn't lose it. Let's see here. I may have to wait till it. Well, that's a bummer. I had a list of the. Oh, here we go. All right, this is from the one of the alphabet agency's websites. Okay, violent crimes, murders, most wanted. Okay, this is from murder. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, this Brian Laundrie character or person is on the run, and they've had, I don't know how many thousands of man hours collectively spent on searching this swamp recently and other searches. Okay. But you've got the FBI involved in it. You've got the local police departments involved in it, sheriff's office involved in it. And it's been a 24/7, it seems, searching, resources, vehicles, canine units, investigators, officers, probably volunteers, I would think, but I didn't see any volunteers on the footage I've seen. It was always paid officers doing this massive search of a 25,000 acre preserve for days on end. You know, we're talking millions and millions of dollars that are being spent on this. Your money. This guy, the reason they're searching for him, he's a person of interest, yeah, but there's no crime that he's committed until they finally, were able to charge him with one, which is fraudulent use of a credit card. Basically, his girlfriend, a live-in girlfriend, might even be able to argue it's his common-law wife. I don't know if you can argue that, but the point is that he used her card and her PIN number and withdrew cash. Well, did he have permission? Was that something they did together all the time? Was, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine? I can see that. Did he really commit a crime? Well, technically, maybe so, and they're after him for that. But that's why they're searching for him. Yes, ostensibly, it's for the fact that she has been allegedly found dead and is reported to have been a homicide. I use that word allegedly on purpose, okay? And they need something to go on. But I want to point this out. This is really important. Murders. These are murderers. These people are all wanted on murder, all right? Here is, I don't know how many we got here. Let's see. A lot. There's got to be Okay, 69. 69 faces here. These people are all wanted on murder, running around. I think it's very interesting to note, and it's important to note. Look at these faces. I would say by and large, just like you can see that most of them are men, there's like 2 or 3 women in here. Most of them are Hispanic, meaning they come from south of the border. I mean, they're here illegally. I don't know. All I'm saying is that's very interesting, isn't it? That's something worth looking into. Of course, you've got people of all stripes in here. You've got white, black, Hispanic, Asian. That's fine. But the majority, very interesting. Okay, that's a side topic. But where are the $1 million, weeks on end manhunt for these people? You've never heard of any of them. And they're on the FBI's wanted list. Okay? Think about that. That's a bit of a anomaly, but I never heard yet. And I've watched a few of these news shows. They're always streaming live on YouTube and stuff. And if I'm eating the lunch, I might catch one of their things and see what they're saying now. And that's how I know. It's like the amount of people paying attention to this is unbelievable. The amount of coverage going on is unbelievable. They keep talking and talking and talking with no new information because they've got viewers. That's why. Because people are being fed this. They're lapping it up. And they never hear one single person say, hey, what happened to Summer Wells? I know I hear people in the comments, your average Joe and average Jill, who say, don't forget Summer Wells. Now, if you don't know who she is, I don't remember if it's Kentucky or Tennessee, but somewhere in that region, this little girl was either in her backyard or in the basement of a walkout house, something like that, and she just disappeared. And they were sort of in a remote area. And, it was a little bit of a story for a while. I heard of it, but it just disappeared just like that. Did they have the FBI and thousands of man hours and people tracking and combing the woods for days and weeks on end and everybody paying attention? No. I remember one time when I was younger, this little girl fell in a well and she was stuck. It was a very small hole in like a yard or a field or something, and she was a very small girl and she fell in this well and she was stuck too far down to pull her out or something like that. And it had, I don't know how many days the news was on it, but it dominated everything. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes during that situation. I didn't think about it. I remember praying that little girl would I don't know if I prayed about it, but I remember, it's a sad thing. It tugs on your heart. It's like, oh, it's horrible. It's hard to imagine this little girl might not even live, and what a horrible way to die, and what a tragic thing. And they did rescue her, but the point being is I didn't know what was going on in Washington or foreign policy issues or things like that may have been going on, and that story just got hyped the same as it is today, because there's nothing new under the sun, right? All right, so moving on. Again, this is all a setup. I'm just telling you about the context, which is extremely important. Now, this is not going to be in any order. I just made yesterday, I didn't get to making this video. I wanted to, because I wanted to actually get this done before, if that guy is going to be found, before he's found. And I may touch on that later on. But I just made a list. It's not in any order of importance, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to give it the time to create this big structured build up to this in any which way. It doesn't matter. I think it's more important to just even if you just look at it in sort of a stream of consciousness of just little tells. So the timeline is not necessarily in order, meaning this is these images right here. This is the first press conference since she was found dead. This was just a couple days ago. And you see I'm going to go from tallest to shortest, okay? That's probably I'll just go, tallest to shortest. So the tallest fella here in the polo type shirt is Gabby's biological father. To his right, your left, this woman is his significant other. I don't know. I don't see a wedding ring. His other person, okay? I don't know if she would be her stepmom, but that's the idea. Okay, this other fella in the middle, this is her stepfather. And I guess that would mean that he is married to her mom, which is on the right. Okay, so you've got Gabby's dad and his, let's just call it his wife, and Gabby's mom and her husband, Gabby's stepdad. Okay, so what I want to point out here, first off, what they're doing here with their forearms is showing off their tattoos that they all got that are identical to the tattoo that you may have seen by now that Gabby had. And the tattoo says, "Let it be." Okay? Let it be. Now, the first thing that may come to your mind is, oh, she was a Beatles fan. You know? Let It Be. Beatles song. Well, there's more to it, possibly. And I want to point that out. So we're going to see right here, you can see the tattoo on the mom is "Let It Be." You can see them all here again, showing their tattoos. Now, there's more than this tattoo. I'll show you that in a second. Here's a very much a close-up of the stepdad's tattoo. You can see where his hair's been shaved off, and it's got like it looks some sort of bandage on it to keep it moist or whatever. Let it be. That's what it says. And let it be reminds me of "So Mote It Be." Okay. Now, what I'm going to get into with this is that this is a hoax of Masonic origin, okay? Because there's lots of Masonic symbolism in here. "So mote it be" is a ritual phrase used by Freemasons. So may it be. So it is required. So must it be. May be said after a person giving the prayer says "Amen." The phrase appeared in Halliwell or Regis manuscript, the earliest known document related to the Society of Masons in England, dating from the first half of the 15th century. "Amen, amen, so mote it be. Say we so all per charity." The phrase has been taken up by neo-pagans, witches, Wiccans, all that, and they use it in a similar way in their ceremonies and rituals. Now, you may have only heard of it in regards to Satanism or Aleister Crowley or something like that, but it's a ritual phrase from Masons, okay? Masons, Masonic. "So mote it be." Now let me go on. Let me extend this a little bit. "So may it be. So it is required, or so must it be. Let it be." Was that a non sequitur to say "let it be"? My point is this: it's a variation on that, isn't it? I would say it is, especially in context of everything else I'm going to show you. Okay, so that would seem to be there's something possibly of Masonic origin here, maybe. There's really nothing other than what I just shared to go on from that. It means nothing. It could just be she likes the song. Thought it was a cool phrase. However, they elevated it. They all got this tattoo. Okay? And also, if you notice on her right arm, Gabby's mom, there is this upside down triangle with a flower in it. Now this is all, and also on the stepmom, her biological dad's significant other or whatever. She also got this tattoo on her left arm. Now what's interesting, this tattoo doesn't look like it's fresh. Doesn't have the gel or the they put Vaseline or whatever over tattoos, and when they're healing after they've just been done. That's not on there. That's interesting. Are all these women, Gabby, this woman, and her alleged mom, did they all have these tattoos? Are they all part of some kind of a coven? I don't know. But it's interesting. These tattoos are fresh. These don't appear to be fresh. So I will continue on this for a minute. You can see a little closer. That's a very sensitive area right there in the elbow area. That's a very tender area of skin. I would say it's probably more tender than this part of your forearm. And, it may be fresh, but there doesn't appear to be any redness around it. Doesn't appear to be any, salve over it. Salve, however you say it. See what I mean? See how they have this, this looks like some kind of Used to be, you'd see people there, it looks like they had Vaseline rubbed over it. This almost looks like some kind of a thing they can just peel off and place over it, and it sticks, So there's that, okay? There's that. Now, while we're on the subject of tattoos, I want to point out something else here. Okay, so first of all, here you can see she has the tattoo of the upside down triangle. Now, this is a feminine symbol. Obviously, the V is sort of a fertility symbol. You can imagine the genital area of a woman is shaped like a V, okay? And that's what that means, but it also is this. Now, you notice her pendant on her necklace. Now, this is kind of small. Let me see if I can blow this up for you a little bit. Okay. Well, let me do this. Okay. You see her pendant right here is a pyramid / triangle, right side up. On her left arm is the upside down. Okay. Now that would speak to as above, so below. This is a Masonic concept. As above, so below. By the way, note the moon right here for the moment. Note the eye. Okay. As above, so below. As above, below, the soul's evolutionary trajectory in Freemasonry. Okay. You can look into this, but the point is that here we have a symbol. Very odd. Now, I will say this, and I may say it again as I go through this. You could go through every photograph of my entire life, from when I was a baby all the way up to teenage years, whatever. I kind of avoid the camera, but any pictures you might find of me, you're going to be hard-pressed to find Masonic symbolism with any consistency in anything. I'm not saying you would never find some kind of triangle shape or something like that, but for you to find all this all together, like even right here, what are the odds? Let it be, so mote it be. On this arm, this symbol. Now the flower also represents something, but I haven't studied enough. Has to do with the seed and everything. But here you have as above, so below. Interesting. And behind it, the butterfly. Do you recognize this butterfly? One of the more common and interesting butterflies there is. It's the monarch. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you've never heard of Project Monarch, it's an MK Ultra program of mind control and brainwashing. Okay? That's interesting. Now, I don't know if the pumpkin means anything. I didn't look into that. But there you go. Okay? So, as above, so below. As above, so below. Here is the Masonic emblem of the set and compass. Okay? And the G means, has to do with, some will say God, has to do with progenitor or genitor, like it has to do with reproduction. Okay, you've got the all-seeing eye up here. I am. As above, so below. Okay. Here's I blew that image up more. I guess this was the search page. I could have got rid of this. I did this yesterday. As above, so below. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, there's the moon. Okay. I guess I'm not going to get into all that about the moon, but I will point out that this was a image that her dad put forth. It was used a lot in her memorial, or she touched everyone, and it's ostensibly it's a beautiful picture of a carefree young girl, living life to the fullest and having a time of her life and all this, and oh, how cute. We'll stand in front of these wings on that mural and like I'm an angel, but in the context of everything, these wings, it can have to do with the monarch butterfly situation, or it can have to do with fallen angels. I think it's interesting these wings have the moon in it, which is featured in some images of Baphomet. Here's another one. Again, this is what I want to point out here, okay, is, let me get it. I need to kind of make it smaller. Try to do that. There we go. All right. Another picture like that. I wonder if these wings and things were not at the same wall somewhere. You know, and it's kind of a cool picture, if you will. It's kind of funny, you know. But let's look at it a little deeper. So, is this a reference in an image to Lucifer, fallen angel? Fallen angels or Lucifer, okay, maybe. But notice her Guess t-shirt. Now, I don't really know that Guess is a big brand anymore. I don't see this. When I was coming up, Guess jeans were all the rage. You know, I'm very familiar with this symbol. But remember, she's got a pendant on here with the right side up triangle. And then now she's wearing this t-shirt with this downward triangle. As above, so below. Standing in front of angel wings. Interesting. Okay. Lots, just every image has something, you know. This I pulled up. Let's see. You can look it up yourself, but I just want to show you the search results. CIA and Project Monarch. Remember, we got the Monarch butterfly over here somewhere. Well, maybe I closed it. Doesn't matter. You remember the Monarch butterfly. So let's see here. Operation Monarch. U.S. Defense Department code name assigned to a subsection of the CIA's Operation Artichoke, later became Project MK Ultra, whereas Project Monarch was officially dedicated sometime in the early 1960s by the U.S. Army. So it has to do with mind control. What is Monarch mind control? CIA Monarch programming. You can look it up. Here's Project MK Ultra. I'd probably start there if you aren't familiar with it. Odds are very high that if you're watching this video, you know something about it already. Okay, here's another thing. This is from the, allegedly, from the dash cam of the guy who pulled him over on their traffic stop, which has gotten a lot of attention. Body language people have analyzed it. People analyze it for narcissistic abuse and signs of abuse and trauma. And I'm going to play a little clip of that because there's some things I find very interesting about that. But notice here on this guy's hand, and again, allegedly, I didn't take the photograph or source this. I just know I sourced somebody else's capture of it. 666. That's odd, isn't it? 666 is what that is. That's from the Bible. You know, it's a common occult thing now. 666 is supposed to be the number of the beast. Okay. Let's go to now. Well, let me go through this first. Okay. Here's something I want to show you as well. Once again, she's got her Guess shirt on. Let it be. And then up here in her sunglasses. Okay. Let me back up here a little bit. I tried to zoom in on this, but then I finally found the picture that I was looking for because I'd seen it before. Boy, I spent half an hour trying to find this picture because, again, it was just another thing that was odd. Again, I could go through all kinds of photographs of friends, family, myself, and you just don't find all this stuff once, let alone all together. So you got Let It Be, the upside down, so below symbol, and then her sunglasses here, okay? If I can find it. I mean, I have it. If I can, there it is. No fake. I don't know. What do you make of that? It's interesting. No fake. Not fake. Subliminal. You know? Subliminal programming. This picture is going to be seen by people. Is it mocking? You know, let's say this is fake. It's sort of mocking people, isn't it? No fake. Very odd. Okay? Very odd. All right. So this is from the... I captured this because... And I actually just pulled up the clip. I thought, I better play the clip too. This is when the officer takes her aside and starts to question her about what's going on. We're going to get to that, but as I just did a little play of that earlier this morning, I found something else odd about it. that I hadn't thought of before. And I'm going to play a little of this. Now, we're not going to watch the full 8 minutes. I just want to point out a couple things. So this officer pulls Brian over. He's driving this van. And have you ever been pulled over? I have. And this is not, I'm going to sort of poison the well here. I'm just going to tell you what I'm looking at. This is not how an officer that I've ever seen, experienced, or I'm aware of as policy approaches a strange vehicle with strangers in it. Listen to this.
Your keys on the dash for me, all right? Okay, turn it off for me.
Yeah.
No, park.
Oh, it isn't perked yet.
Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, all right? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
Gabby, Brian, okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm just sorry. We've just been fighting this morning.
Okay. My experience, and there's got to be protocols for this, right? An officer approaches a vehicle. First of all, where he's standing, he can't really see the driver, who's the male. I find that odd, and a very not a good position to be in. I understand he may have approached from the passenger side because of traffic, but it just seems odd, and because there's no window right behind that he can see what the driver's doing, and he doesn't say, "Can I have your license and registration, please?" immediately. He says, "What's your guys' names?" They give him the first name. "What's going on? Why are you crying?" Would he pull him over because she's crying? No. Why is he asking them what's going on? He needs to find out who they are and tell them why he stopped them. That stuff can come later. Besides, I've never watched the hour-long video version of this, and I'm not sure that he was pulled over for speeding or because there was a 911 call about them fighting somewhere and they tracked him down. I don't really know the details of that. Either way, I'm based on all the things I'm saying about this being a hoax, I'm not even so sure this is a real officer. Again, that may sound crazy to some people, but you don't understand what's going on then. Okay, this is what might be called live action role play, a LARP. This is if you remember all the shows I showed you? Think about the plots and how much time goes into setting the stages and the sets and the lighting and the scripting and the storylines and the characters and weaving them in and out and all the little bits of dialogue and everything that makes it look real. Are you kidding? When there's as much at stake as a $3.5 trillion spending bill and flooding the border with destabilizing the Middle East or alienating allies and for the U.S. and making a mockery of demoralizing the military because of the 20 years most of the people who were involved in it are aware of this conflict going on 20 years, and many people lost loved ones there on both sides, of course, and then they just all of a sudden one day, hey, we're going home, and leave and left it in total chaos, and where people right now, even this day, there's people trapped there who maybe won't ever make it out alive, Americans even, okay, and allies and all that. And anyway, all this is at stake. You don't think that they would go to the trouble of scripting something like this? I do. Don't forget they have endless resources. And I'm not sure if I've got it up here. Maybe this is it. Nope. I pulled up, it was in the news today. Janet Yellen she's the head of the Treasury now. She used to be the FOMC chairman, Federal Open Market Committee, and she is advocating for no debt ceiling. Now, what is a debt ceiling? Well, if you got a credit card, you have a credit limit. There is not ostensibly, it's the wrong word. There really is, in actuality, not a debt ceiling, because every time they get to the debt ceiling, they just vote to move it. It's a moving goalpost. you know? And Yellen now is just outright saying, we shouldn't have a debt ceiling at all. Think about that. You know, at some point, the roosters come home, or the chickens come home to roost. That's what I say. All right. Okay, this is going a little longer than I anticipated, but that's per course. So let's watch a little more of this, then I want to get to the point that the reason I initially pulled this video up.
Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
Try Juice Cleanse.
Okay. I got to mute this. I'll just talk through this commercial so I can skip it. So the point is that he pulls them over, still doesn't have their IDs, still hasn't told them why he pulled them over. These people don't even ask him why they stopped him. Sorry, I was speeding. No, sorry, hit the bump or hit the curb. Okay, I don't know. It just seems odd to me. All right. So let's go a little further here.
I'm driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is odd. He leaves the keys on the dashboard. Is that really going to stop the guy from driving off? You know, he could already at that point, you know, there's some talk he may have killed these two women at this campsite where they're coming from in Moab, Utah. That just does not seem like good police procedure. That fellow's still in the vehicle behind the wheel with the keys in arm's reach. What was the point? That was just like silly. So he walks back here with her. I don't see another officer there yet. That guy's just sitting there in the vehicle, and he's over here talking to his girlfriend. All right, so what I want to point out here is right here.
You want to tell me what's going on?
All right, first off, she is crying, he said. Why are you crying, he asked her. She gets out. Notice the sunlight coming down right on her orbital ridge here, on her eye socket, on her cheekbone. You don't see dried tears or stains here. Listen to her voice warble and crack. And it almost sounds like a little kid who's pouting, trying to, you know, upset they didn't get the candy they wanted, you know, and they're not really crying, but they're acting like they're crying. And you will see no tears, which, by the way, I want to come back. Every press conference I saw with the mom, remember, she just, they just buried her. Well, that's another thing I want to point out. At the funeral, they cremated her. There was no body. So there's no tears. I never saw her cry. She did sort of this whole Gabby thing where she kind of like she acted like she was welling up a minute, like looked distraught. That's the words I'm looking for. There's no tears here. Now, this is something, if you've seen anything about crisis actors at all, and many of the shootings and things like this, is like very puzzling. Some of the parents, the first thing they get up to the microphone is they start pushing for gun control, and they just were informed, some of them, about their children being killed. And it's been either within hours or a day or so, and they're already pushing gun control, and there's no tears. They're already over it. They're coping with it so well. But we'll just watch this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days.
Sniffles, no tears. Now that, you might say, oh, that's wet there. This is sweat. Okay? There's no tears. This part of her cheek is all dry.
I have really bad OCD. And okay.
Or just as shiny, every which way. There's no, like, gradations, what I'm saying.
I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not, like, mean towards him. I just, like, I guess my vibe is, like, I am like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just hit my...
What do you do for a living? What? This is just odd questioning. Was he on a date with her? Why does he care what she does for a living? What relevance does that have to do with the traffic stop? With why she's upset? It doesn't matter what she does for a living. She's working on her blog. he could infer that she's like there's plenty of people that make a living online doing travel videos, blog posting, you name it. What is the point of that? Meanwhile, he's got a possible, criminal back there behind the driver's, of this van. Just odd to me.
Okay. I was a nutritionist. That's my job.
Cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying.
Oh, okay, that's cool. This officer's language, tone, and everything. Like, hey guys, what's going on today? What are your names? Oh, why are you crying? Oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, that's cool. This does not sound like official police business. I mean, what is the? Does it bother you? I mean, again, I'm still processing it because I just noticed this as I was looking for this little scene right here where she wasn't crying. That was the point of pulling up the video at all. That's doesn't pass the smell test. It doesn't matter to me that they have what looks like an official vehicle here. It says police badge. I don't know what that says. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. Is that what police Utah vehicles look like? Okay, I don't know if this is gonna zoom in on the picture or not. Yeah, it doesn't make the video picture any bigger at all, so that doesn't work. So anyway, okay, I've kind of covered this. No tears, but you go watch all the videos you want. I can't say I've seen them all. Saw enough to realize the dad never seems to really waver. He comes off as a tough guy. Okay, I'll get into that in a little bit. So no tears. All right, I got a list here. Let's see. All right, another thing I want to point out. I thought I did this, but I didn't. One thing is, this story is either completely real, as reported, and organically gained popularity. I should have done this in the beginning, but I forgot. Second possibility, it's completely real, but it's being artificially hyped and exploited to obfuscate all those things that I told you about. So this story came up, and they seized on it, and now that's what a lot of people, I'd say the majority, seem to be in this camp. Oh, this is important. We should focus on this. It's interesting. I'm interested in this. What a tragedy. Get that Brian Laundrie guy. Poor Gabby. Poor parents invest themselves in this story this way. Okay. There are a faction or a percentage of people who think it's completely real, but it's like, the media is just exploiting it. They're hyping it to cover Afghanistan and all this kind of stuff. But then you've got, well, I guess you'd say that's the camp I'm in, who believe it's a complete hoax that was created to be hyped and sensationalized for the express purpose of obfuscating the things I was telling you about. And that's what this video is about, okay? I'm in camp 3. Which camp are you in? Is this too much for you to believe? Well, let me point something out to you here. I'm gonna read something to you by Albert Pike, who wrote Morals and Dogma. Okay? He wrote, he was a sovereign grand commander of the southern jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. There's a, I think, life-size statue of him in Washington, D.C., which, by the way, is completely laid out with Masonic symbols and things like that. But this has to do with symbolism. He wrote, "In all time, truth has been hidden under symbols. Symbols are nevertheless ingenious veils that cover the truth." And I want to read you something else, okay? This is by Foster Bailey, who wrote a book called The Spirit of Freemasonry. He said, "A symbol veils or hides a secret, and is that which veils certain mysterious forces. These energies, when released, can have a potent effect." Manly P. Hall, he was like a 33rd degree Mason, I believe, up there with Albert Pike. And he said, "It is for the adepts, which are the initiates, in those who are basically experts in it." He's talking about symbolisms and concealing truth. It is for the adepts. Is for the adepts to understand the meaning of the symbols. An understanding of these symbols is the beginning of wisdom. Max Toth, he wrote about the Great Pyramid of Giza, and he wrote about the purpose of symbols, and he said, "The knowledge of the ancient mysteries was never revealed to the layman except through the media of symbols. Symbolism fulfilled both the need to conceal sacred truths from the uninitiated, which is basically supposed to be you and me and everybody else except them, and to offer a language for those qualified to understand it. Meaning that these symbols, why are they out there? Well, one is to communicate to the adepts, to those who understand the language, what's really going on. I guarantee the people who understand what's really going on are not, they realize something else is, they know that something else is being covered. They know that this is a fraud. So let's talk about some other things that are found very curious. Right away, I found this last name to be very odd. Laundrie. I've heard of Laundrie. I've never known anybody named Laundrie. Never. I worked in sales a lot of my life. I encountered lots and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people from different areas of the country, different, all stripes. Okay, and never came across this name. And immediately it struck me as I was seeing like this something about this seemed off. Brian is an anagram for brain, real easy. Laundry is your washing. Brainwashing. How about that? I remember when I saw that, I thought, no, come on, that's just silly. But there it is. Yet there it is. Odd. Remember the context. Just a moment. Remember the context. You've got an appetite for this kind of a thing. You've got murderers. Here's dozens of them right here. Never heard about on the FBI most wanted or FBI wanted list. I don't say most wanted because there's a top 10, but you've got all this basically taxation. $3.5 trillion. I mean, the amount of money this is just beyond staggering, and we're already like $28 trillion in debt now. And I guess in just the last 9 months, this guy under his administration has racked up almost $1 trillion in debt already. Okay, now this is not a bipartisan video. I'm not on either side of this situation. I'm just, so don't go there with me. You got the wrong dude. It's, look at that. I mean, that's just unbelievable. It's hard to, you can't wrap your mind on it. Then you've got everything. The Afghanistan thing is going to be swept under the rug, or already has been. It's being washed up, isn't it? So it's being cleaned up, brainwashed. Then you've also got this. Now, I don't know what to make of this, but it did stand out to me. Gabby, gabbing, when people are just gabbing, they're talking. And Petito, petite, small. I didn't look up the family origin of the word and the name. It sounds Italian or Spanish, possibly. Interesting, she doesn't look Italian at all. Neither does the dad. Anyway, small talk. It's for the little people. This is for the little people to talk about. Now, I don't know if they've got a computer. You can easily find a program or create a program to generate words that fit concepts, or create a name creator. So how do they come up with names of the hurricanes? Well, they developed a system. How do they come up with the names for, like we were talking about, Operation or MK Ultra or Project Monarch? How do they come up with that stuff? Well, they have a system, or they have reasons. There's meaning behind the words. Gabby Petito, small talk. All right, let's get people talking. Let's get the little people talking about something else, and brainwashing. And we need names for the characters. This will be funny. It's a joke. Don't ever forget the power of mockery. Okay? The inside joke. Power of the inside joke. All right. Let's see, where were we here? Probably should close these. Close that one. Close that one. Well, I'll leave it open now for now. Okay. Close that one. All right. There's a reason I pulled this one up. Try and find it. Another thing I learned, she was apparently in a video having to do with some school shooting, Sandy Hook maybe. That's odd. If you don't know anything about Sandy Hook, let me put it this way. There was a book written called Nobody Died at Sandy Hook by a pretty intelligent dude. So here's that wall, the monarch butterfly. It's actually a monument to the monarch butterfly. I think this may be along their migration route or something like that. I haven't looked it up. Here's a memorial, obviously, to, she got her picture taken here. But why there? Showing her let it be symbol and her as above, so below symbology, or symbols. I don't like that word, symbology. There's no fake. Okay, I think I've kind of wrapped up everything I wanted to talk about. Here she is again. Thought there was something else. Give me 1 second, because I got a little out of order here. Tattoos, let it be. And again, you can go find the interviews. I just thought of something else I want to point out. Well, I got a list. I should go back to my list. Go try to find her or the dad shedding real tears. Okay, no interviews, and tears in the interviews. And I didn't watch the entire funeral, but I caught a little bit of these two fellas speaking. They're playing a tough guy. Didn't really get tears or grief from them. I recently saw a clip of a fella who's forgave the murderer of his daughter, and the guy went on the run, and it was like even years on, the guy's still broken up, can barely talk, and just pleading with the guy to come back. Very odd. Okay, another thing about the funeral, they cremated. I did pull up the article, but it may not. I don't think I have it here. The New York Post article. She was cremated. No body. Another thing I didn't pull up a picture for, but you can go find it. So they have an aerial shot of the people at the crime scene. And if you've ever seen crime scenes, they erect like a little, when you go to the beach and people can set up these tents that are open, there's a canopy, and they place a canopy over the crime scene. There was nothing under the canopy. No, what did they do? They lifted it off and moved over the side or something? There was nothing there. So they're all standing around where her body was found. Oh, one may say, well, that was shot after her body was removed. Well, I don't know. I'm just finding it odd. There was no, even if they don't show the body, you can see a tarp or a sheet or something to show that, there's something there. Nothing. There's nothing there. And it didn't even seem to be in a place, it was out in the open. Wasn't even over by what looked like some cover. So it didn't make sense at all. That's my point. Let's see here. Okay, here's another thing I want to point out. If you look at pictures of Brian Laundrie, let's see if I can get one. I may have closed that one. All right, apologize. The video now is getting a little bit unorganized, but I'm almost finished. All right, well, I don't have it, but you can take a look at him. You probably have the image of this Brian Laundrie guy in your head because he's been on TV so much, or the news on the internet. The suspect, the boyfriend, looks a lot like this guy. Now, compare that to if you've seen news footage of the Laundrie, the parents, the vilified parents going in and out of their home. Way old. This guy's 22 or 23 years old. Way older. Let's say he's even 24. They are way older. They look like they're in their 60s. Okay? Doesn't mean that that they're not his parents. They don't really look like him. Not like this. He has a resemblance to this guy. I'm not going to go there on the hair pattern because I think usually this comes from the mother's side. But even the eyes, especially the eyes and the nose, even the build. Now, Brian's skinny, but this guy's much older. He's twice his age probably. And people thicken up usually as they get a little older. Just another one of those data points to consider. Okay, let's see here. Now, another thing I've got from these guys, and you might as well. I mean, this takes up some discernment when you've seen them speaking, especially this fella. Especially, well, you know what? As many police shows as you've probably seen, and again, those are actors, right? These guys put off a total cop vibe. They come off like they're cops, law enforcement of some degree, some training, some experience, something about them is a real cop vibe, which is not good for the credibility of the story, in my opinion. If you think about everything I've shown you. Now remember, by the way, while we're on this picture, so much in this picture. Looks like the guy, Brian Laundrie, looks like his dad. Total cop vibe about these two. Unemotional, all of them. The tattoos, they go out of their way to make sure everyone sees this Let It Be tattoo, which looks virtuous and beautiful, and the solidarity and all this kind of stuff. This all just happened. They've gone out and organized and gotten tattoos, tracked down the original person who did it to do the exact same tattoo. It's very odd. And it also has the connotation of so mote be a Masonic thing. Then you have the upside down triangle on the women, which does not look like it's new. There's also another little tattoo right here. I don't know what that says, but they have identical tattoos. Now, that's kind of weird too. Are these women such great friends? It just seems like, it's amazing. All four of these people are either totally for tattoos or totally against them generally, All of them are just on board with getting tattoos. Again, a little, okay, maybe unusual. And they have the same one on this arm. They didn't go into what this one means. Everybody can read Let It Be and think it means the Beatles song. And she's free spirit, peace sign, free spirit, hippie type of girl or something. What is this upside down triangle with the flower in it? Well, they got that one too, and they also got whatever it says right here. I'm going to suggest they had these tattoos. Now, we could go back and look at a video of her being interviewed at first, and she may have been wearing short sleeve or sleeveless dress and may not have had that there. I don't know. I didn't go into that deep. But this is just, this stinks, okay? Another thing I want to say, the last thing, I guess, Mr. Petito here, I believe that's his name, he goes out of his way to show that he's a tough guy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, notice it next time he talks. Notice some of his interviews with Dr. Phil. Who else has he talked to? News people, whatever. He comes off as such a tough guy. And, when people are really pushing an image of themselves, you know what it says to me? Con man. Being conned. Why is he doing that? Tough guy. Because everybody out there wants to vibe with the tough guy thing. They want to get Brian Laundrie, killed that beautiful young American girl, Miss America. He killed Miss America. He killed my daughter and your daughter when he killed Gabby Petito. He's on the run. What a coward. We're going to get him. Dog the Bounty Hunter sweeps in. Go get him, dog. There's another levels going on there too. I don't know that it's completely organic that Dog the Bounty Hunter on his honeymoon with his 6th marriage, by the way, 6 marriages, and that he happens to be in the area, happens to be honeymooning right where this happens, and he had to get involved because his friends and family and fans have all just begging him because he's there to do something. So he does something, and then now he's on the case, and now guess what's happening? Everybody's like cheering Dog on and how he's making a mockery of the FBI and the police because he discovered this Marco Island area before they did. Well, we don't know what they knew or whatever, but the point is, doesn't this fit into the whole defund the police and the police are bad and incompetent and all this theme? There's just a lot of levels, a lot of layers. I haven't even scratched the surface, really. This is just me shooting from the hip. I had these things that I notice sitting here alone. The world comes by my window, and I see the parade, and I see the clown show. And I just want to say, hey, look at the clowns. Do you see the clowns? Because I see the clowns. All right, that's it. Over and out, this installment. Thanks for watching, and hope you got something out of it. Take heed that no man deceive you. We're living in the end times.